All right, there's a reaction. Your license is suspended for drunk driving. After a company party, I was stopped by an unmarked police car and accused of drunk driving. I was in a dire situation with no one on my side, but I managed to escape thanks to a quick-witted move. I'm in my late 40s and work in the transport industry. I can't handle alcohol at all due to my constitution, so I often take on the role of organizer or driver at parties. Even though I can't drink, I enjoy the atmosphere of parties, and I don't mind it at all. Tonight was a rare large party, and I had a great time. I saw off the group going to the after-party, settled the bill, and stepped outside. Just as I was about to get in my car, my phone rang. It was a colleague's number, but it was my boss, who had left his phone in the restroom of the restaurant. I went back to the venue to retrieve my boss's phone. He said I could give it to him tomorrow, so I placed both mine and his phone on the passenger seat. I also took off my jacket and threw it on the seat, thinking it might be too warm as I had worn a winter coat. Finally, I headed home, which was a 40-minute drive. After driving for a while, I noticed a white sedan following me. It kept a consistent distance as I drove through the downtown area, the residential area, and then into the countryside. With no oncoming traffic, it was just my car and the white sedan. I started feeling uneasy. Suddenly, red flashing lights appeared in my rearview mirror. I checked and saw the red light on the roof of the car behind me. Oh, an unmarked police car. The car in front, pull over. Almost simultaneously with my mutter, a voice boomed from a loudspeaker. I slowed down and pulled over to the side of the road. While waiting in the driver's seat, two men got out of the sedan, and one of them knocked on my window. "We're the police. We've been watching you from behind." Okay. He quickly showed me something that looked like a badge, but it was closed immediately, and it was dark, so I couldn't see well. I could only make out the police mark. Even though I hadn't done anything wrong, being stopped like this made my heart race. I was glad I hadn't been speeding. Returning from a company party, I hadn't had a drop of alcohol, and I had obeyed the speed limit and traffic signals. I didn't do anything, so why was I stopped? I asked, confused, and one of the officers replied, "People who are drunk driving often try to act innocent. We clearly saw you coming out of a bar." "Yes, I am coming back from a party, but I haven't had a single drink." Sure, that's what all drunk drivers say. "Show us your license." The officers were convinced from the start that I was drunk driving. There was no point in refusing, so I handed over my license obediently. The officers, who seemed to be in their late 20s or early 30s based on their voices, were much younger than me. One officer came closer and held out an alcohol detector. "Here, blow into this." I quietly blew into it. Naturally, no alcohol was detected. The officers huddled together, peeking at the detector, and whispered to each other. "See? I told you I haven't been drinking. I was the driver." "But there's no one else in the car, right?" I dropped everyone off at their destinations after the party. Even as I explained, the officers seemed skeptical. "Oh, really? Let's redo the test." "Why?" "It didn't react just now. The alcohol detector seems to be malfunctioning. Please blow into it again." No matter how many times we do it, the result will be the same. For some reason, they persistently demanded a retest, so I reluctantly agreed. Casually glancing at the other officer, I saw something unbelievable happening behind him. The officer was wiping the breathalyzer with a disinfectant. Breathalyzers aren't cleaned with alcohol-based disinfectants because the alcohol in the disinfectant will trigger a false positive reading. Huh? Something's off about these officers. I thought to myself and quickly came up with a plan. Excuse me, can I blow my nose first? Pretending to grab a tissue, I reached into the passenger seat and felt around for my phone, operating it discreetly to avoid detection by the officers. Somehow, I managed to press the record button. Sorry for the wait. Here's the tissue. I pulled out a tissue from the dashboard and pretended to blow my nose. All right, blow into this. Okay. With a bad feeling, I blew into it again. They quickly took it away, not showing me the result. Due to the alcohol from the disinfectant, it seemed to react slightly this time. The officers nodded to each other. All right, your license is suspended for drunk driving. One of the officers said cheerfully. I told you, I haven't been drinking at all. If it reacted just now, it's because of the alcohol in the disinfectant. When I pointed this out, the officers got angry and dropped their polite tone. We're the police and we're confirming it. Are you defying us? He said menacingly. No, I'm not. Then please test me again. I haven't had any alcohol. The test showed positive. You were drunk driving. One of the officers said high-handedly, talking over me. But I didn't back down. And for drunk driving, the suspension is odd, right? Shouldn't it be license cancellation? Stop babbling. Just pay the fine. It's $5,000. A fine, huh? They don't even explain how the fine is calculated. There are two types, driving under the influence and driving while intoxicated. If the alcohol concentration in your breath is 0.15 milligrams or more, it's DUI, resulting in a 90-day suspension. If it's 0.25 milligrams or more, it's DWI, leading to license cancellation. Would the police really make such frequent mistakes with official terminology? Given my job in the transport industry, our company has alcohol detectors. We check for DUI before and after work, so I know the penalties well. Could these guys be fake cops? It dawned on me. If they're fake, going to the police might actually prove my innocence. I had heard that agreeing to voluntarily go with the police can put you at a disadvantage. But if these were imposters, it would be different. I started to smile. Maybe because I wasn't getting my wallet out, one officer got angry and shouted. Hey, hurry up and hand over the money. Don't defy the police. You'll be arrested for obstruction of justice. All right, let's go. To the police station. I'm not running or hiding. As expected, the officers started to panic. Wait, really? Are you sure? We're letting you off if you pay now. One officer made a money sign with his fingers. Clearly, these were fake cops demanding cash on the spot. I don't carry that much cash. Who does? Then withdraw it from an ATM. How? I asked, and one officer replied, drive to a convenience store and withdraw it. I chuckled. Puffed. You're telling me to drive, even though you said I'm drunk driving? Well, just give us what you have now. There was no way these were real cops. Realizing this, I remained calm. Will you give me a receipt for that amount? Huh? A receipt? I've never done anything wrong, so I don't know the procedure. But usually, you get proof of payment, right? When I said this, the officers exchanged glances, cleared their throats, and said, "If you pay what you have now, we'll overlook this. But keep it a secret." Doesn't that seem strange? Are you asking for a bribe? No. Just pay the money without any complaints. I started to find the situation amusing and felt more at ease. But I didn't do anything. If the breathalyzer really showed something, show me the screen. I already turned it off. Then test me again. What? I told you we already tested you. As the argument heated up, I took out my boss's smartphone from the passenger seat. Okay, let's do this. I was glad my own phone was recording. The emergency call option didn't require any passcode. I dialed 110. Hello, is this the police? Please come immediately. I'm in trouble. I'm being falsely accused and asked for money. The location is. At that moment, I was thankful for my job in transportation. I could easily describe my location. Hey, who are you calling? Stop it. The two officers were panicking, but I finished the call. Turning to the officers, I said, I called the police station. This is getting nowhere. Hey, this is bad. What do we do? The officers were visibly shaken. You didn't really call the police, did you? Yes, I did. Aren't you police officers? Why are you so upset if more of your colleagues are coming? As I spoke confidently, for some reason, the officers started to smirk. Well, whatever. We'll figure it out. Yeah, it'll be fine. Within minutes of my call, several police cars arrived with sirens blaring. On the rural road, our two cars, one with a red light on, were easily spotted. Good evening. Two young officers stepped out and greeted them. We received a call. What are you two doing here? What's going on? Are these real police officers? I had suspected they were fake, but they turned out to be real. Of course. We showed you our badges earlier. As I stood there stunned, the young officers grew bolder. We're really going to arrest you for obstruction of official duties. They threatened me, but I stood firm, showing me that earlier didn't count. I couldn't even read your names. It seems there's a dispute here. What happened? A senior officer asked me, while another officer questioned the young ones. Several officers watched from behind. To prevent me from speaking, the young officer raised his voice. This man left a bar in his car. We followed him in an unmarked car, and his behavior was suspicious, so we asked him to stop. When we told him the breathalyzer showed positive, he suddenly started causing a commotion and became violent. That's a lie. I shouted to cut him off, but the young officer kept lying smoothly, making the new officers look at me with suspicion. What's this? A drunk causing trouble? Did you call the police yourself? The new officers seemed to believe the young officers' lies, making me furious. Then test me again. There's no way it'll show anything. I haven't had a drop of alcohol, yet I'm being accused of drunk driving and asked for money right here. When I shouted, the senior officer reacted sharply. "Are you saying they asked you for money right now?" When the senior officer asked, I responded firmly. "That's right." They initially demanded $5,000. When I said I didn't have it, they told me to give all the cash I had. Hey, shut up. Stop saying unnecessary things. I told you to keep it a secret. The young officers were flustered. The senior officer, glancing at them, said, "Anyway, let's test you again. I'm sorry, but could you cooperate?" The result was, of course, negative. "See?" I said triumphantly, not mentioning my recording, and explained everything. The new officers found it hard to believe. "It seems our young officers have caused you trouble. They must have been overzealous. It was a misoperation of the breathalyzer. We'll make sure this never happens again." They tried to appease me and let me go without charges. The young officers remained sullen and silent. I was far from satisfied. I almost became a criminal for drunk driving because of these two officers. I demand an apology. Saying that, I took out my phone, which had been recording the whole time. The image wasn't clear, but the audio was. When they heard the recording, all the officers turned pale. "You secretly recorded us? That's dirty." The young officer yelled, but I firmly replied, "Who's really dirty here? You demanded money even though you're real police officers." The others also initially doubted me, right? If I didn't have this video as evidence, you would have tried to sweep this under the rug, wouldn't you? I won't let this go. I'll take this to court if necessary and demand compensation. Then, the young officers. "What? Don't mess with us. You've got some nerve." They snapped and came at me. In the next moment, several officers restrained them and covered their mouths. "We are truly sorry for this incident. We'll contact you later." Their attitude changed drastically. The senior officer bowed deeply and said, "We'd like to hear more details later. We'll certainly come to apologize. Please keep this confidential." The other officers also apologized in unison. "We're very sorry." I was surprised at their change in attitude but replied, "All right. I expect a sincere response." The senior officer quickly ordered, "Let's go. Follow us in your car." The young officers, cowed by the senior officers, were ushered into the back of a patrol car. Another officer drove the unmarked car, leaving me alone on the dark rural road. Later, their direct supervisor and the deputy chief visited my house to apologize. "Please keep this confidential." They handed me a substantial amount of money. I won't disclose the amount, but it was enough. I learned that the young officers who initially approached me both had fathers who were high-ranking police officials, often covering up their misconduct. They had been exploiting their authority, accusing people of drunk driving to extort money. Thanks to my recording, they couldn't cover it up this time, and the young officers were dismissed for damaging public trust. The incident was resolved, but it became a legendary story at company gatherings. Had my boss not left his phone, I might have returned home earlier and avoided the incident. But it was because his phone was in the passenger seat that I could record and call for help. In any case, I never want to be involved in something like this again. How did you like this story? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.